Hello, I'm Ernest Renan, a French philosopher, biblical scholar, and critic. You might know me for my text, What is a Nation? Before I get into the details, let's discuss the key factors of my era. During the mid to late 19th century of Western philosophy, Marxism rose to challenge the traditional European way of life, specifically in a socio-political and economic view. The philosophical view used in Marxism is called dialectical materialism. Karl Marx, who created this concept, essentially states that economics, or the mode of production, determines everything else in life. Marxism influenced my text by basically saying that nations are a hoax. He believed nationalism is a concept created by the bourgeoisie after the collapse of the feudal system in order to promote a capitalistic society. In addition, he preferred internationalism and interaction between nations in class struggle. Additionally, there are a few mentionable people who have helped the uprising of Marxism, such as Saint Simon, Robert Owen, and Charles Fourier. They did so by bringing recognition to the working class. However, enough with the tomfoolery. Time to talk about my work. What is a Nation is a text I delivered on March 11, 1882 in Paris. I was quite confused with the definition of nationalism and the attributes that were connotated alongside it. I plan to objectively examine all aspects on nationalism and decide on whether they truly belong. To my fellow peers and many citizens around the world, nationalism is defined by a country's race, culture, and geography. Unfortunately, I believe they are all incorrect. Let me further delve into my claim. First and foremost, there are no pure races. Previously, the popular notion is that race is what causes the unification of a country. This is essentially one of the major causes that people have made because if this is true, this could potentially cause the fall of the culturally rich European society. Additionally, we have seen proper evidence in a multicultural diverse country, such as France, who managed to create a sense of nationalism during their revolution. Therefore, again, pure races don't exist and they are only made up to stir politics. Additionally, culture should not be considered a factor that constitutes a nation. This is because of two specific aspects: language and religion. Language invites individuals for the opportunity to be united. It doesn't force it. A perfect example is the linguistic diversity of Switzerland. It is a country that has up to 4 languages, hence making them stronger and more unified as a nation rather than humiliating the latter languages and focusing on one. Moving on to religion. Religion was originally very important to each social group, which is basically an extension of an individual's family. However, previously, some states such as Athens required to follow a specific religion, otherwise you are not considered a part of them. Back then, if you were to refuse a certain ideology, it would be the same as currently refusing to be a part of the military. However, after Athens, this rule did not hold up for any of the following empires. Therefore, this resulted in religion becoming something that is practiced individually and not imposed by states. Thus, regardless of your ethnicity, you can follow any religion you desire. Finally, geography does not make up a nation. While it does play a very important role in history, it is not the mountains or the rivers or the land that decides the boundaries of a state, because while mountains can sometimes create a separation between two lands, rivers are able to connect them. Geography varies, therefore it is not logical to state that it is the factor that leads to a nation. Those aspects are simply the playing ground for man, who then decides the fate of the country on their own, probably with strategical plans in mind. Now that I have listed all the factors that do not make up a nation, allow me to introduce my personal analysis of what does. The first factor is surprisingly the act of forgetting. Most nations created were united based on the brutal acts of violence. For example, the main reason why the north and south of France decided to unite was because of the many years of non-stop violent fighting that occurred. However, many French citizens are unaware of this fact. Additionally, people might unite on the mutual, emotional, and physical memories that affected them. Therefore, feeling as though one's own country has been through many trials and tribulations in life, which they were able to escape and achieve victory from, can cause a strong sense of nationalism. A perfect example is the ambiguous result that occurred in Italy and in Turkey. Italy became unified after their victory in the war. However, after many rounds of defeat, Turkey's nationalism was wrecked. This leads me to my second factor. In order to maintain a nation, one must continue to pursue the act of forming that nation. This is because nations are not eternal. They change over time, and individuals must try their best to maintain it, or else it'll fall apart. To conclude my analysis, a nation is not made up by its culture, race, or geography. A nation is in fact a soul, a spiritual principle. It is made up of commonly rich memories with the desire of the people to live together. The nation is essentially the outcome of all the results made previously by its individuals. Therefore, a nation is when people gather together in solidarity and reminisce on the previous sacrifices that were made for their nation.